This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Tuesday, the 14th day of August in the year 2018. Here's what we're tracking tonight. Two Ukrainian nationals who work as security guards for a foreign mining company in the interior region were today charged with the assault of two local miners and remanded to jail. 38-year-old Vitaly Parashuk was today slapped with 2 counts of threatening behavior and assault causing actual bodily harm committed on Charles Clark. His fellow Ukrainian national, 33-year-old Maksim Fartuk, was charged with threatening behavior committed on local miner Rudolf Dean. The police prosecutor told the court that the incident occurred on August 3rd at Quarterstone in the Cuyuna River area. Additionally, the Ukrainians, as well as a local miner Charles Clark, were charged separately with contravention of the Private Security Services Act of 2009 for failure to wear their prescribed uniforms. The local miner was granted $20,000 bail on that charge. At first, it was suspected that the two foreign security guards were Russians, but the Russian embassy later identified them as Ukrainians. The entire assault incident was captured on camera as the two foreign nationals got into a heated confrontation with the local miners over land that the locals were on. The Ukrainians demanded to see documents since they claimed that the men were trespassing. An argument ensued, and during that argument, one of the Ukrainian men punched one of the local miners to the face. He also pulled a gun on him. Once the video surfaced and started to make the rounds on social media, a police investigation was launched. The men will make their next court appearance on the 23rd of August. More news in a moment.
Summer is for selfies with lots of data from GTT. Activate a 3-day or more data plan to get up to 35% extra data and the chance to win big. LOL this summer with GTT, Guyana's #1 network.
Summer is for friends, weekly prizes, and super summer getaways from Caribbean Airlines. So top up $1,000 or more and get 25% bonus credit plus a chance to win big. LOL this summer with GTT, Guyana's #1 network.
Welcome back. The American Chamber of Commerce in Guyana was officially launched last evening at the Marriott Hotel with the hope of strengthening trading ties and relations between Guyanese and U.S. companies. Already a number of local companies with links to the U.S. have signed on as members of the Chamber, but it is also open to other companies. With the coming oil industry and renewed interest in Guyana by investors across the world, the Chamber is expected to serve as a link for many of those American companies and Guyanese companies looking to develop trading ties and make investments. U.S. Ambassador Perry Holloway said this is the perfect time for Guyana to launch an affiliate of the American Chamber.
This discovery is really big, and it will have really big impacts on Guyana's future and people. When I do talk about oil now, I always say really big, because I am still of the thought that no one here really gets what's about to happen. I think people are beginning to wake up, but it is going to be gigantic. So, in fact, without this discovery of oil in 2015 and the subsequent influx of American companies into Guyana, we probably wouldn't even be here tonight. So it is hard not to mention oil. But Guyana is much more than oil.
The ambassador said the Chamber of Commerce will promote and create U.S.-Guyana trade and business opportunities and will also share the exchange of best practices for institutions and systems building. Business Minister Dominic Gaskin also welcomed the launch of the American Chamber in Guyana and said it will receive the support of government, which according to him has been creating a better climate for investment. The business minister said Guyana is ready for business, and with organizations like the American Chamber showing an interest, it could open many more opportunities for the country. Foreign Affairs Minister Carl Greenidge also pledged the government's support, pointing out the role of his ministry to support international trade.
One of the main aims is the promotion of trade between the United States and Guyana, trade in goods and services, and to provide an economic, social and policy platform for members, and to also to help to promote corporate social responsibility and social development in Guyana. These are very commendable goals.
The American Chamber of Commerce Guyana already has a board in place. Corporate Secretary for Queen's Atlantic Investment Zulfikar Ali will be serving as its first president. Turning now to the oil sector, Minister of Business Dominic Gaskin has blasted persons he described as self-appointed experts on oil over their doom and gloom outlook for the oil industry in Guyana. He was at the time speaking at last evening's launching of the American Chamber of Commerce in Guyana at the Marriott Hotel. He said while Guyanese should not bend their heads in shame of their realities, there should be a more positive outlook to the prospects of economic growth and development with the oil industry.
Because they are caught up and distracted by the negative rhetoric coming from a handful of self-appointed experts, many of whom are quietly positioning themselves to benefit from the very industry they are maligning, the very project they are maligning. Some of them want to get there first with as little competition as possible and are therefore happy to see Guyanese disenchanted with the prospect of oil. The reality is that there are still a lot of poor and vulnerable people in Guyana. And economic growth and development will create economic opportunities for them.
The minister said Guyana's economy will experience significant growth over the next decade and beyond, but he appeared taken aback by the negative rhetoric that has found its way into the national conversation on Guyana's oil future.
Everything may not be perfect, and I don't think anyone is saying that it is. I certainly am not saying that everything is perfect. But what I am saying is that I am satisfied with the progress that has been made in the petroleum sector since the announcement of the discoveries in 2015 and today. And I'm also satisfied that some Guyanese are already benefiting from what is happening in that sector.
Minister Gaskin said the government intends to invest oil earnings into several areas, but there is a need for persons to look at opportunities and prepare themselves more for the industry. Guyana is set to see first oil by 2020, and many analysts have predicted that with the expected oil earnings, the country could see its economic growth being tripled within the first 5 years of oil production. The government has, however, found itself facing criticism from some commentators about whether it is adequately prepared for the industry and whether it has all the systems in place to ensure the country truly benefits. And finally tonight, the International Organization for Migration has committed its support to addressing the migration of Venezuelans to Guyana and to help boost Guyana's capacity to deal with such situations in the event of future occurrences. According to the Ministry of the Presidency, the International Organization of Migration is currently conducting work in gathering data on the migrants and observed trends through a displacement tracking matrix in regions 1, 2, 4, and 7, and has committed to developing a terms of reference for a consultant who will review the various sectors' current policies and standard operating procedures for dealing with migrants. The consultant would also be tasked with the updating and/or development of these as well as the guidelines for emergencies, which can guide responses in the future. Meanwhile, a plot of land in the Mabaruma area has been identified by the government for the establishment of a homestead settlement area or a humanitarian center for the registered Venezuelans who are occupying areas in the Barima-Waini Region 1 area. Minister of Citizenship Winston Felix made that announcement yesterday at the end of the 5th Multi-Agency Coordinating Committee meeting. He told the other members of that committee that the resettlement area, which will allow the Venezuelans to be self-reliant, is privately owned, and the government will now have to initiate efforts to determine what arrangements could be put in place to acquire the land for the establishment of the humanitarian center. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. Gordon Mosley reporting.